Hello, so this is my cultural autobiography, entry number 8, part B. So, this is about reflecting based on the beginning of the semester into where I am now, and just a few things within that, such as like my identity and all that. So, to begin, I will start with my name. My name is Skylar Knapp. I am 19 years old. I'm about to be 20 years old. My gender is that I'm a female. My race is that I am Italian and Jewish, and I use that as my race. That is, Judaism is my religion, but being Jewish is my race, I consider. Um, my um, my class or socioeconomic status. Um, I still am a dependent on my parents, so my parents are middle class, so that is my economic status. My religion is that I'm Jewish, and my language is that I speak English, but I'm also fluent in sign language. That is like my second language. Um, and my ability or disabilities, I have no disabilities. As far as abilities, I think I am gifted in athletic abilities for my sport. It's something I am better than others in. So it is something that I guess you could consider an ability. Um, Roles that I have as a sister and a brother and a student. So as far as a sister, like my sister is getting married in a couple of weeks, so I am the maid of honor. So that's a role I play right now, is being there for her and making sure everything is in line. Um, my profession is that I am a coach for youth soccer kids. So my roles I play there is to be a leader and an advocate and to teach. My role as a teammate and as an athlete of the NCAA is that I am a role model for kids as well as for the NCAA being an athlete. I'm a role model for kids, and I define who I am defines what it means to be a student athlete at a school. My identity as a teammate is that I give my team my 110% and I work hard regardless of the situation that comes to play, and I always put the team first before myself. So that is just some things about what I could be, like my identity, I guess you could say. Um, my like For starters, the beginning of the semester, I'm still a psychology major, but my minor will be different now. I am changing my minor. So that is something new that has changed. Some similarities from the beginning of the semester till now is that my faith has always stayed the same. I've always been strong in my faith, and it's in fact increased, I guess you could say. And I've really looked for it in times of trouble throughout the whole semester, and it's really helped me get through tough times. Some differences, I could say that um, my my outlook on how my life was going from the beginning of the semester till now is different, and I've learned a lot in these last few months. So it's a very different experience than what I've had last year, and I learned a lot about myself, and I grew up a lot. And I think what contributed to that is honestly my culture of being a soccer player and realizing that things don't always go your way. And you have to remember that there's more to life than just soccer. And using what I learned from soccer and from the athletic culture, I've put that into my everyday life, and it has changed things for me. And I have a different outlook on things now. So that is something that has changed. I believe the impact that this focus on intercultural communication has had um, on me. I've noticed, we talked about this in the beginning, like throughout the semester, about some cultures being like American culture versus, you could say, Asian culture. and that we are very to ourselves, whereas other cultures, um, they they rely on everyone together and they have strong bonds with each other, whereas us, it's more interpersonal, and theirs is collectivism, where ours is just us, and it's about us succeeding. And I believe that I've seen this and I've been raised like this, and that has been my like the way I've gone about my whole life. Is it's all about me succeeding, and it's all about what I can do and pushing myself. But after being on a team where it matters about your team, you start to look at what can we do to succeed as a group, and I started to become, I feel like I have some collectivist culture traits involved with my individualist culture now, and I have formed, I guess, a new outlook on how things should be. Not saying that our culture is necessarily wrong and one's right, but to incorporate both, I believe, is the best way to go about it. I've also realized that I was being colorblind, and we talked about this within a TED Talk that we had, and that video is something that really stuck out to me throughout the semester, because you don't realize, and I could see it within my family as well, being colorblind, that you don't realize that just because you're not around it, that it's not there, because it is there and it's prevalent. And for instance, I met someone new who is a part of a different culture than I am this semester, and listening to his music and listening to the things he listens to and the way he is and things and the way he talks and things that he talks about in his story life, it's way different, and I've never had to experience these things. So it's really interesting to me to know that I've never seen those things, and it's almost encouraging to know that I want to learn about them. And before, I didn't really take time to listen, but now I can see that I was being colorblind, and I want to explore other cultures and see what they're like. And I don't want to just be in my little shell, because my little shell, I cannot grow if I cannot be out of my comfort zone. So that's really something that influenced me this semester, and I learned a lot about was coming out of my comfort zone, really, and becoming a new person because of the outlooks and the things that I've learned throughout the semester. For the cultural autobiographies that I created through like the start of the semester, starting from 2 to like number 7, each time I learned something new about myself, and I learned just about like, I started to relate. For instance, one of them was about one of my experiences with one of my deaf friends and how it was different. And I started to remember these experiences I've had and be able to relate my culture to, like, be able to relate what I've learned in this class about cultural differences and learn from them, because I have this new knowledge about what a culture should be like, or like not what a culture should be like, but like what a culture difference is between mine and theirs, and how I can learn from it, and how I can stop the separation between the two cultures, and I can in fact embrace it and learn from it. And I learned a lot about that, for instance, with my deaf friend, and how he came to one of my parties, like my friend's parties, and I thought I had to interpret for him the whole time, and I was kind of stressed about it and thinking that it's going to be two different worlds. But he made it so much easier just to be a part of it, and it wasn't hard at all, and we had a lot of fun. And I never really took time to learn about that and really think about it until this semester, learning that there's actually reason for that and words for that, and there's ways to enjoy it and why that happened. So it was that's just an instance of something that I really reflected on this semester, is I was able to pull from past experiences and think about it and change my viewpoint because of what I have in my past and what I've learned now, and create something new. And I feel like I've grown from it. Like my cultural awareness and sensitivity and where that's grown, I feel like it's grown there, for instance. And I feel like I am being more aware of other cultures and not just not wanting to learn about them, but wanting to embrace them and discover them and be a part of them. And that's something I feel like I grew a lot in because I never really considered it before this class. I never really considered that it was an important thing to think about is other people's cultures. And it's making me go out of my bubble and out of my shell and forming new mindset and grow from it. How my next question that is asked is how will this experience of writing a cultural autobiography and studying intercultural communication assist you in intercultural encounters in your future profession? So my future profession is that I want to be a sports psychologist, and many different people who are athletes in the future will come from different backgrounds. Some people will struggle. Some people have to work their tails off and just be walk-ons with no scholarships. Some people will come from money situations and get a whole ride granted to them, a whole scholarship paid for. And they come from the Beverly Hills area, the nicest areas. And some people will come from nothing and work their tails off and get a full scholarship. There are so many different cultural places that these people can come from, and including their background and their family. And if they don't have family, and in my profession, I need to be able to speak to these kids as if they are as if I knew them their whole life, and as if I can relate to them. And in order to do that, I have to practice it now. I have to be able to speak to just anyone and not look at their identity as something that's a factor in communication, but as something that I can embrace and I can work with. So that is a big thing that this will help me with this semester, is being able to talk to these kids in the future and be able to relate to them and not have the wall barrier between us. And lastly, how will I continue to develop my intercultural communication beyond this course? Just throughout my profession, I believe it will help me develop communicating with kids and working with their differences and their cultures, and being able to have them open up to me and relate to me and not be scared just because I may look different than them or I may sound different, but to be able to have to be able to be someone that they can confide in and trust, because I understand where they come from and their cultures and what they're raised off of. So that was a big influence in my experience this semester, was being able to relate to that. So yeah, this is just a full-on summary of what I've gone on this semester, and I hope I've learned as most as I can this year, and I'm thankful for it. So thank you.